What's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. Curry chicken breast, dry, bland, according to my mom, Hoxie. Have you ever struggled to make curry chicken breast? Listen, with all the requests I've been getting, I'm actually going to drop that recipe to show you how to achieve juicy, tender, full of flavor curry chicken breast. Stay tuned, you're gonna love this one, man. I've got 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil on a medium-high flame. Yeah, we're outside, so do expect, noise. We got onion and then garlic. Full list of ingredients will be listed down in the description below, but it is half of a large onion and 6 cloves of garlic. I just gave the garlic a rough chop. And we're gonna bring this up to a sort of a sizzle. Then we're gonna turn the heat down and allow it to cook for about 3 minutes on a low heat because we're not trying to burn the garlic. Start getting little brown bits on the side, the edges of the onion. So here's where I'm gonna go over my Caribbean green seasoning. And Caribbean green seasoning, if you're new to Caribbean cooking, is just a puree of all the herbs along with seasoning peppers, garlic, and all that lovely stuff we like using in our dishes. And typically you would season the chicken and allow it to marinate for a couple hours with that Caribbean green seasoning. We're doing things quite differently because we're trying to get the most sort of flavor as well as keep the moisture within that chicken breast. It's been about 3 minutes since I added the Caribbean green seasoning in there. And here's where I'm going to add my curry powder. Use your favorite curry powder. I'm just using my own blend. Now, if you're doing this thing gluten-free, please read the label of the curry powder you decide on using. Some of them may tend to have flour as a thickener and a filler. We want to cook out the rawness of that curry. So I'm going to turn my heat down all the way down to low and let that go for about 4 minutes. Yeah, and I know this is not the way your mommy, your grandma, your auntie would make their curry. But again, because we are using chicken breast, something notorious for drying up and getting hoxy, or just to say terrible, the curry powder will go dark. It will go sort of grainy on you here. Notice the sort of separation I have going on here. An ingredient most of you in the Caribbean don't use in your curry. Tomatoes, 2 medium tomatoes that I just diced up finely. And the reason for the tomato in here is twofold. One, it's going to help us develop a nice thick gravy. And two, it's going to bring that acidity to the game, which will just help balance our flavors. Now we're going to add water. Scrape the bottom and bring that back up to a boil. We got a bubble happening there. So what we're going to do is we've got 2 ingredients here you've seen me use before. One is ground roasted geera or cumin, and the other is what's called Anchar Masala. Check your favorite Caribbean grocery store. You can find that. If you're having problems finding the Anchar Masala, you can double up on the ground roasted cumin. We're going to need black pepper, and of course we're going to need salt. And it's going to look like quite a bit of salt, and it's only because the chicken is going to go in here after. It's a bit too vigorous at this point because I want to cook off that curry as well too and develop that rich base. So I'm going to turn my heat down to medium-low and let that gently simmer there for about 10 minutes. And I know you're probably wondering, well, Chris, where's the Scotch bonnet pepper? Now, no Scotch bonnet pepper. I got these 2 what I call giant chilies out of my garden there. And I find that the people who like chicken breast, especially with curry, they're not into spicy foods at all. That's just, there's a correlation there somehow or the other. So you notice I put them in whole. I'm not going to break them. I want them, just the oils from the outside of those peppers, to gently release just a slight little flavor and ever so gentle heat. The liquid has reduced by about a third. The backyard is smelling simply amazing. Here's where now we're going to go in with the pieces of chicken. And ladies and gentlemen, this may seem strange to you. I didn't season the chicken or anything prior. Remember, all that seasoning went into the pot. So what we're trying to do now is just sort of poach the chicken in that curry base there, thus keeping it nice and moist and tender and everything else. Those sort of key points that we want to try and achieve in not having dried chicken breast in our curry. Just gonna mix that into that curry sauce now, like so. And I kid you not, in under 10 minutes, this will be done. This will be completely cooked through. The pieces of chicken are about 1.5 to 1 inch cubes. Notice how quickly that is cooking, and the whole idea here is not to overcook this chicken either, but at the same time we've got to make sure we cook it fully. Yeah, it's been going now for about 7 minutes. I know my chicken is fully cooked, and the idea is not to overcook the chicken. We want that nice and plump and juicy. Yeah, the gravy looking a bit thin at this point, but the residual heat will thicken it up. Now, what I like going in here with now is cilantro chopped up. And I know my friends across the pond, you guys call that coriander. And the only reason why I'm using cilantro and not shadow benny is because I'm based in Canada. And while I do have a shadow benny plant, a couple plants in my garden this year, them thing hurting, boy. They ain't looking too irie. So what I'm gonna do now is turn off the heat and allow the residual sort of heat in this cast iron pot to help thicken up the gravy and finish things off. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. And there you go. Curry chicken breast, or chicken chest as my mom would say. And I guarantee you, it is not dry. It is full of flavor. It is moist. And it is so juicy and tender. Now if you want heat, break those peppers open. Boom, bam. Caribbean sunshine to the extreme. Irie? Irie. Blessings. And I'm sure some of you didn't believe me when I said the gravy was going to thicken up. Just look at that nice luscious gravy there. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to taste and adjust it for salt, yeah? Just look at that now. Oh, papa.